Hello and welcome back to Professional Tutors, the British online school. We are a unique team of qualified and dedicated teachers here to help our students to reach their full potential. In today's lesson, we're going to look at triangles and quadrilaterals. So our learning objective for today's lesson is to calculate angles in triangles and quadrilaterals. To start with, let's do this simple starter and see if you can calculate these angles, the missing angles here. That is just to check your prior knowledge. Right, so just have a look at the answers. For the first one, the answer is 86 degrees, and write the reason. The reason is more important than the answer itself. So make sure you just write the right reason with the answer to explain why this is the answer. For this one, angles on a straight line, they add up to 180 degrees. So that is how you're going to word your reason. For this one, second one here, E equals 150 degrees. And the reason for that answer is angles around a point, they add up to 360 degrees. And for this one, the angle, the answer is going to be 38 degrees. And the reason behind that is they are vertically opposite angles. And vertically opposite angles, they are equal. For this one, the C is going to be 142. And the reason for that is the angles on a straight line, they add up to 180 degrees. But again, you can do the other way around as well. So once you got this one, you add them together and then you take away from 360 and you divide that by 2, because these two angles are going to be equal as well. So there are ways you can work out the answer. So again, if you go with that, so again, you have to write that reason that vertically opposite angles, they are always equal if you want to go that way. So once you find one, then the other angle is going to be 142 degrees. Again, the reason for that is vertically opposite angles, they are equal. Right, for this one, F is going to be 54 degrees. And that's a straightforward answer. Angles in a triangle, they all add up to 180 degrees. In this case, A is going to be 135 degrees. And the reason for that, angles in a quadrilateral, they add up to 360 degrees. For this one, G is going to be 67 degrees. And the reason behind that, because that is an isosceles triangle. Because these two lines means that these two sides are equal. And in a triangle, if two sides are equal, that triangle is called an isosceles triangle. And for isosceles triangle, the base angles, they are always equal. So always remember, a triangle which have all the sides equal, that is called an equilateral triangle. A triangle with two equal sides is called isosceles triangle, and a triangle with no equal sides, or when all the sides are different, that triangle is called scalene triangle. And the H is going to be 46 degrees, and it's again a very simple reason. Angles in a triangle, they all add up to 180 degrees. Let's have a look at this question here. We want to find the missing angles. So it's angle G and angle H. It's a good idea. You don't need to, but it's a good idea to work out the angles in an alphabetical order. You can calculate H and then G first, but you don't need to do that. You can calculate this first by all means. That's not a problem. So with this, it's a straight line. And the angles in a straight line, they add up to 180 degrees. So H is going to be 180, take away 131.6, and your answer is going to be 48.4. And to calculate G, it's the same reason again. The angles, all the angles on a straight line, they all add up to 180 degrees. So you add up these two angles and take away from 180, or you can do 180, take away the first angle and take away the second angle, and that will give you 60.2 degrees. Don't forget to write your reasons, because they're always 1 or 2 marks for writing your reason. Let's have a look at this question here. Find the missing angles in the diagram below and give reasons for your answer. So again, try to calculate them alphabetically. This one is quite straightforward. It's an easy 1 mark to pick up in exam. Angles in a straight line, they all add up to 180, so that is quite straightforward. And make sure you write the reason. Now B is going to be, now you have to look at Z angles. Z angle or F angles. So in this case, you can see that's an inverted Z here. So whenever you find a Z, this angle is going to be this angle. So, and the reason for that is going to be alternate angles are equal. So Z angles, they're called alternate angles. So the reason for this one, B is going to be 43 degrees. And the reason for that, this angle equals this angle. And the reason is alternate angles, they are equal. Now, once we got this angle, then again, it's going to be straightforward. Angles in a straight line, they all add up to 180 degrees. You've got 2 angles, add them together and get the third one, take away from 180, and that will give you the third angle. And the reason for that, so don't forget to write the reason. Angles on a straight line, they all add up to 180 degrees. So C is going to be your 59 degrees. Right, let's just have a look at the answers for these questions. So for this one, A is going to be 53 degrees. And because we know the reason for that, that's going to be vertically opposite angle. And vertically opposite angles, they are always equal. And once you got A, then you add them all up and take away from 180 to find B from there. And the reason for that is angles in a triangle, they all add up to 180 degrees. And for B, now it's forming an F here. So these 2 lines, they are parallel, and that's why they have given us these arrows. So these arrows means that these 2 lines are parallel. So this angle and this angle, they are forming an F. So these are F angles. And F angles, we know they're corresponding angles. So corresponding angles are equal. So P is going to be 74 degrees. So we know this one now. Q is going to be simply 75 degrees, and we know the answer for that because vertically opposite angles, they are equal. So this one there, as we said, that whenever you can see a C supplementary angle, or they're also called co-interior angles. So the best things, whenever you got C, we can see a C, these 2 angles, they add up to 180 degrees. So to find this one, it's going to be 180, take away 74 degrees, and that is going to be 106 degrees. Or you can do this way, this is 74, so that means that is going to be 74 as well, because that is forming an inverted F. So once you find this one down, so that's going to corresponding angles. Then again, once you got this one 74, to find this one. Take away from 180 degrees and you will get the answer, which is 106 degrees. For this one here, A is going to be 146 degrees. And the reason for that is angle on a straight line, they add up to 180 degrees. B is going to be 34 degrees because that is forming a Z. So we have to spot a Z here. So that's a Z. So whenever there's a Z, this angle equals this angle. And the reason for that, they're alternate angles. And alternate angles, they are equal. And once you got B here, then all these three, they add up to 180 degrees. And you can find C from there. For this one, C is going to be 50 degrees. And again, it's a simple reason. Angles on a straight line, they all add up to 180 degrees. So that is going to be 180. Take away 130, and that will give you 50 degrees. Once you got this one, we know this one. We just calculated this angle. So angles in a triangle, they all add up to 180 degrees. And you take away, you add these two angles, take away from 180 degrees, and that will give you 64 degrees. Now, for this one, you have to draw a line here first. Again, you'll find the W, co-interior angles. So they'll form a C here. So we can spot a C here. Guys, that's a challenging question. So we're looking at this is going to be a 4-mark question in exam, 4 marks or 5 marks. So draw a line here, and that is going to form a C. And wherever we find C, that means these two are going to be co-interior angles. And co-interior angles, they add up to 108 degrees. For Y, again, this is forming a C here. So they add up to these two angles, they add up to 180 degrees. And 180 take away 37, that will give you 143 degrees. Now, once we know this angle and this angle, then that's a complete circle. Or that's and angles in a complete circle, they add up to 360. The way we're going to write this reasoning in exam, angles around a point, they all add up to 360. So we know this, So add them together, take it from 360, and you will get X from there. Right, for this question, we have to look at the ratios. So that's the ratio we're going to look at, the largest ratio, the largest angle. So as we do the questions in ratios, so first thing you have to do is to add all the numbers. And we also know all the angles in a triangle, they all add up to 180 degrees. And you divide that by 9 because they're total 9 parts. So you divide 180 by 9 to get how much is 1 part. So 1 part is going to be 20 degrees. And 2 parts, you times that by 20 by 2. So 2 parts are going to be 40 degrees. And if you want to find 6 parts, then times 6 by 20. And that's going to be your 120 degrees. In this case, they have asked you only find only the largest angle, but in exam, it is quite possible that they will ask you to find every single angle there. Okay, so this is exactly the same question what we just did in the previous slide. In this case, it's a quadrilateral instead of a triangle. So again, when you got ratio questions, the first step you have to do is add all the parts in a ratio. In this case, it's going to be 18 parts. And we also know the angles, all the angles in a quadrilateral, they all add up to 360 degrees. So divide that by 20. So that's going to be your one part. So one part is going to be 20 degrees. And then simply times this by all these, and you'll get all the angles in a quadrilateral. So that's going to be 120. That's going to be 140. That's going to be 80. And that's going to be 20 degrees. So here are some more questions for you to answer. Pause the screen, give them a go, and we're going to look at the answers in a minute. So these are the answers here. See if you can get them right. If yes, give yourself a thumbs up, and if not, go back, watch the video again, and you should be able to do them. That's all for today. I will see you in the next lesson. Thanks for watching. If you find the information useful, please subscribe, share, and like the video.